Let's get back to the business. The South and West Chambers are pleased to present our podcast showcasing some of our most successful members. Let's get into the business. This episode was brought to you by Broadway Bank.
Some national banks want you to believe you can only get the best digital services from them. Well, agree to disagree. At Broadway Bank, we're partnering with big tech firms and local vendors to do things differently. We're building a best-in-class customer experience that lets you connect with us 24/7 without sacrificing the personal service only an independent bank can provide. Award-winning and based right here in Texas. That's modern banking. Visit us at broadway.bank.
Welcome back, South Chamber family and friends, to the Business Podcast, hosted today at Port San Antonio. I am joined today in the studio with Genevie Vasquez from Commute. I will let her tell a little bit about the company. I'm sure I have had some questions. I've already had some questions on what makes it different than the parent company, Enterprise Rent-A-Car. And so, Genevie, thank you for joining us. We'll talk first about your business, and then we'll get to know you a little bit better. But so what is Commute?
Yeah, so it's a division of Enterprise Rent-A-Car, so it is linked with the company, and it's called Commute with Enterprise is the program. And what we do is provide transportation solutions for employers to help get their employees to and from work, the work site, facility, whatever the case may be. And it's also an extension of public transportation. We operate all over the country, but here in San Antonio specifically, we've partnered with VIA to provide a subsidy to employers within a 100-mile radius of San Antonio.
So it sounds kind of in the space of professional rideshare almost.
Yeah.
How long has Enterprise been doing this?
So here in San Antonio, we've been operating since 2006.
Okay.
But it's been a long-running program. We actually purchased the program from another company, and we've been operating it under Commute with Enterprise ever since. But again, it's all over the country. We have it operating in 46 states. We've partnered with different transit agencies, obviously, throughout the country and whatnot to kind of help that cost for the riders themselves.
And I'm assuming so there's a relationship in San Antonio with VIA?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, VIA and I work closely together. They're the ones that actually introduced me to the chamber, so super glad for that relationship.
And so are we.
Yeah, right. But yeah, we go and talk to different employers throughout the city, mainly large manufacturers, distribution centers, food packing companies.
Where they have a lot of folks.
Right.
Yeah.
Usually companies that we target have larger workforces because they usually have people commuting from all over the place, right? Okay. Smaller companies obviously can still participate. Again, it's an extension of public transportation, so it's available to everybody. But mainly those types of businesses are the ones that have the most benefit or see the most benefit.
I got you. Well, and I've seen this too on urban planning or the future kind of economic recruitment of San Antonio. I've seen proposals or ideas on how to incentivize and what companies are looking for, larger companies are looking for. And a big component of it tends to be transportation. They bring up, can our people get to and from with a public transit system, if you will, or just a more, I guess, open-ended option that isn't, they aren't reliant on their own car per se. And so I see that a lot, and it seems to be more and more a trend that companies want those options. And so obviously you guys are busy then, I'm assuming.
Yes. Yeah. With everybody, returning back to work, if you would, going back into the offices, it's definitely going to be busier, keeping us busy, Via and I. But San Antonio is one of the fastest growing cities in the country. So a lot of businesses are looking to relocate their headquarters in different places, Austin being one of them, but San Antonio specifically, go San Antonio from here. So, we're trying really to make that effort to let companies know that if they come here, this is also an option for them because there's the less cars on the road, the better, right?
Right. Well, you mentioned like folks, obviously now 2021, everybody's getting back to work. Everybody's the workforce is clearly being put back into place.
Yeah.
With Commute, how long have you been there?
So I've been in my role with Commute since January.
Okay, so
January
wow,
this year.
Okay.
But I've been with Enterprise as a whole for 8 years now. So I'm not new to
Sure.
the company.
Well, that's what my question was going to be on. How much growth have you seen? And I'm sure you've seen some past trends that maybe they were shared with you. Is that how busy are you? Are you guys getting busier and busier every year, or
Yeah. So I mean, COVID definitely.
Sure.
We took a hit with COVID.
Absolutely.
I mean, before that, we had probably over 200 vans operating within South Texas because I oversee the territory from New Braunfels all the way down to the border.
Okay.
So within that area, there was probably about 200 plus vans operating throughout, the South Texas area. When COVID hit, we definitely took a hit on that. So we ended up dropping down to a little over 100.
Oh, wow.
About
okay.
half. And then now that things are picking back up, we're definitely seeing the growth come back.
Okay.
Slowly but surely, of course. Again, there's a lot of people that are still, or a lot of companies that are offering the work from home options. Mm-hmm. So it's not necessarily as needed, you know what I mean? Sure. But it's definitely going to grow over time. Obviously things are bouncing back pretty quickly now.
Right. You mentioned the changes in the market. I know Enterprise rent-a-car services themselves got flexible, sold some vehicles, where they could and whatnot to just try and keep the bottom line going. Mm-hmm. With respect to your involvement, your career at Enterprise, you mentioned you started over there and now you're a Commute. What made you interested in that switch to that particular mission or that department, if you will? Yeah,
so I spent most of my career in the daily rental operation. So that's like the rental car offices that you go and pick up a car from. I did that for, about 7 years. And then once I made that transition, what really kind of swayed me one way or the other, I would say it's just a different type of career.
Sure. Or workflow, I imagine, too.
Yeah, and definitely more account focused. Like I feel like a lot of my strengths come from just engaging with people, networking, having conversations,
building relationships.
Right. And I think this is where I can thrive the most.
Sure. And there's like almost like a retail component on the rent-a-car side where it's transactional. Who comes in, they know they need a car, they're there, and they're in and out. Give me my car and let's go. Yeah. And you and your current role, I assume there's a lot of watering the garden.
For sure. I'm definitely more of a hunter now than I was before. Yeah. Definitely out there looking for the business for sure.
That's great. That's great. Well, I guess let's get to know you a little bit better. So was this your job out of college as well? Or?
It was, yeah. So I graduated from UTSA, go Runners, in 2012. And then I stayed working at the Hyatt Hill Country throughout my college career, if you would. And then I ended up going to a job fair, got recruited by Enterprise, and I started with them in 2013. Yeah. And I've been there ever since.
It's a good company, and they're really smart. They go after colleges.
They do.
And they recruit really well, very well. And certainly set you up if you're interested in a career pathway with them. And I considered it too when I graduated at A&M Corpus Christi. And, and they were very active. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were very active recruiters out of there. Are you from San Antonio?
I am, born and raised.
So you've become an active member of the West and South Chambers. Mm-hmm. Can you speak to maybe if you used to come around the area? If you didn't, nobody's going to hold you against you. But now that you have come around the area and you're seeing the changes, I mean, can you just talk about your perspective as a San Antonioan and what you're seeing on the south and west sides?
Yeah, so I mean, I grew up on the northwest side, so I didn't really come down to this side of town very much. I had a couple family members live here temporarily, and have moved around since. But
and I asked this too because the first time I lived here, I lived kind of in the medical center. Yeah, and I just stayed in that medical center area, that bubble, if you will. And if I ever did venture off, it was maybe downtown. You know what I mean? Never really appreciated some stuff. So maybe same kind of. Yeah, same kind of thing. And now that I'm obviously in a different part of my career, I'm definitely seeing how the city has changed. Sure. I mean, just on that side of town where I grew up, 1604 was a 2-lane highway when I was in high school. That didn't exist, a couple years ago. Sure. So it's it's fun to have seen it change and grow. And I tell people I love San Antonio all the time, that they need to come live here or visit. But no, definitely down in the south,
especially with this new exposure. There's definitely a lot of opportunity coming to San Antonio for sure, and I'm super proud to be part of it. I want to help it grow too.
And you have been, and that's was going to lead me to my next question. Obviously, you've seen some value in being a chamber member,
Right.
being involved in the chamber. Can you, what keeps you coming around? I mean, you've been to some of our events. You continue to be a good ambassador for us to spread the word too. Can you maybe tell some folks why they should be involved in a chamber?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're really looking to network and build a brand for yourself, this is a great way to do that. Everybody that participates is very passionate about everything that they talk about, their company, what they do. So I think that's super important. If you really want to engage with the community, this is a really good way to do that. And not only that, but it's fun. Like, y'all are great people. I've really enjoyed, getting to know y'all. Shout out to Bobby.
Bobby's in the studio. Yeah.
But yeah, I the networking is fun. The events, it feels good to be back around people.
Right.
And
well, and
that's the best part.
I had Jessica, our VP. We mentioned our VP of membership, Bobby, and I had our VP of events. I said, hey, Jess, since the pandemic started, we were given some orders, obviously stay at home, and then some restrictions on capacity and this and that. And so we played by the rules as every business tried to do to keep everybody safe, their employees and their consumers, their customers. And so while those orders were still happening, a lot of folks just kind of stayed to the strict rule of what they felt was the safest, which was not gathering at all. And so we felt an obligation or responsibility to show signs that we got to get the economy going. Let's get back out there. Let's all continue to network and touch base. And so whenever the restrictions were loosened, we would find time to do an event or put something together. And so we ran the numbers, and I think we all together did 30 events since the beginning of the pandemic. We've done 30 events and over 1,200 participants in these events, and these are all in person.
Yep.
Not a single incident, not a single person got sick on us, not a single incident at all. And so that's why I'm mentioning what you said, is that I appreciate you being one of those folks too that helped us get people out and continue to get connected and network. It's important. And,
it is.
And now you're seeing it, and I think everybody's hungry for it. So thank you for that shout out. Let's see, what else can we talk about? Well, we've talked about Commute. We've talked about a little bit about you in San Antonio. And any shout outs you want to give? I mean, you've been working for Enterprise for a while, and I'm sure you've some mentors there and people that have helped you grow in your capacity there. Is there any folks you want to give some love to?
Yeah, I mean, gosh, within the company, people come and go. That's just the nature of how things, the setup is within Enterprise. So, I mean, I can go down a list of names if I had to. But, I mean, just anybody who's been involved in my development, in my career development, anyone who's encouraged me to just be myself and do what I know how to do best, which is just get to know people and network and do my thing. That's super appreciated because a lot of people don't have that.
Sure.
A lot of companies don't maybe give the support necessary to kind of flourish in those areas.
Sure.
I love working for Enterprise. I've had so many opportunities to do great things for myself and be independent. And not to mention the background I had at the Hyatt, great training. The customer service is like nothing else.
Right.
The training that they give you. So I think that set me up for success to work for Enterprise.
Yeah.
But since then, VIA has been a great partner, so I'm going to give them a shout out. Andrew and Kim, they're great people. And then we also met with Lily Crowder from the Alamo Area MPO recently.
Okay.
They have a lot of good things going on too. If you're not familiar with that, are you familiar?
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
Yeah, so I didn't even know that was an option or something that we offered to our community. So if you haven't heard of them, definitely check them out. Super beneficial things.
So I'll also give a plug and a shout out to the San Antonio Mobility Coalition. I'm actually the chair-elect going into next year. And so I think you would find a lot of helpful relationships with them as well. They're great movers and shakers about infrastructure projects, transit projects. And so I think you would meet some great players. Shout out Vic Boyer, Executive Director of Sameco. So let me see. I was going to ask you, what you mentioned career development. I wanted to get, again, you personal, a little bit more you. What surprised you, I guess, about your career development? Something that maybe, wow, I'm good at this and I didn't know I was good at this, or to that extent, I'm good at this and God darn it, if this isn't what I like doing, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So Funny story. I was actually a psychology major.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
So people are my thing. Like, I've always been intrigued by the human mind and just how people interact and engage with each other. So, this wasn't exactly what I had in mind for myself when I was taking psychology courses at UTSA. But I think it definitely prepared me for this type of career for sure. Right. Learning how to read people has been very important, not like psychoanalyze you or anything like that, but, just how to read people's behaviors, mannerisms, body language, all of that is definitely something that rolls through my mind on a daily basis. Right. So that definitely set me up for this.
And some folks would like to almost call that a soft skill. That's a very hard skill.
Yeah,
I mean,
it is.
And if you have that kind of intuition, then that's almost helps you cut out some of the noise or the nonsense, and you can get to the goal that you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I used a less colorful word than I was going to use.
I see where your head's at.
No, and so again, that, I guess, your psychology and career development, beyond that, anything else surprise you?
Well, when I first got recruited to Enterprise, obviously it's a rental car company, like, great, I'm going to be renting cars, but there's so much more that just goes on behind the doors. Right. There's trainings that they give you. They teach you how to interact with people and understand a business,
right.
And that is something that I don't think a lot of companies take time to do, is teach you how to really own your office and your business and manage your people. Right. So that definitely helped me too, and just learning how to work with people too, because everybody's different. Everybody has a different personality. Everyone has a different set of skills. So they really taught me how to utilize the staff that I had and to make the best of the situation.
Yeah, like, and I'm kind of raised in a retail family that I was always wired to know that treat every dollar like it's your own, not like it's just, this is the company's. No, it's going to affect your bottom line too as an employee too. Well, Genevie, I thank you so much for your time today, telling us a little bit about yourself, a lot about Commute, and shout out to some of the partners. I look forward to continue to see you events. I know we will, and I hope that we continue to get more partnership, more engagement, more space in that. Because I can tell you this much. I know more jobs are coming. They're definitely coming. The buildings are being built. It's all happening now. Yep. Last year we had that $1 billion week that 2 companies were announced, and those facilities aren't even built yet.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yes,
and so it's coming, and we're excited to be helpful and part of that. And the big thing we're excited about is most of it, if not all of it, is happening on the South Side. And so we're really excited. Well, I want to thank all our folks at home for joining us. You have been given the business by the South and West Chamber. Thank you for joining us.